Hello and welcome to Day 3's build diary from a Glacial Cascade Elementalist. So, today, a lot of things has changed, but also a lot has stayed the same. So we're still level 87. I haven't really been pushing to level. I've been working on getting gear for the character. So if we go ahead and look at my items, these have kind of all stayed the same. I did touch up a few things on them, and I swapped over to Dreamer. I don't remember if I covered this in the last build diary or not, but I changed my anoint, and I just kind of been blessing some implicits here and there. I did swap my flasks because I have onslaught on my boots now, so I'm using a Stibnite flask just for the more evasion rating. It seems to be helping, and I am having enough uptime of onslaught with just the 8% chance to gain it, so I'm not really losing a lot there. None of my flasks, the enchantments are still all bad just because I'm just not getting a lot of instilling orbs, and the one I am getting, I'm pretty much using immediately. So on the passive tree, so this is where a lot of the changes are happening, and basically I want to swap over to the Zealot's Oath version of the build. And in order to do that, like I was talking about before, you need a cluster jewel with Doriani's Lesson for life leech. You need a way to life leech, and essentially Doriani's Lesson is the easiest way to do it. So I did swap my tree around a little bit here. Basically, I took all of these points here, swapped them over to here. It did allow me to pick up the melting wheel, along with this jewel socket, and I took the Faith and Steel wheel here just for the ES, just so I have a little bigger buffer on ES. I wanted at least 1,000. And then my jewel socket, and then I have 3 extra points to put into the jewel socket. I did get rid of the Heart of Ice node here. Eventually, I'll probably go back to taking it, but for now, I feel like my damage it's still a little low, but it's enough to clear, and I would rather have a little more survivability right now. That being said, as far as the jewel goes, that's where things are kind of getting a little rough. So I did go ahead and swap over, or make my second Atlas tree, and it's basically all shrine nodes and Delirium. And then anything extra I put into Karak mission chance. In the off chance that I can build up, I figured that while I'm hunting for cluster jewels, I can start building up Karak missions, and then once I get my jewels sorted and I go back to progression, then I will have, a decent amount, probably 10, 11 Karak missions to help me finish out my Atlas. Which, by the way, is at 88 out of 115. So we're almost there. I'm missing a lot of unique maps, though. As far as the actual nodes I'm taking goes, it's just every Delirium node. So, I really don't care. The one I wanted to talk about was Unending Nightmare. It says that the fog never dissipates. It gets harder as you go farther from the mirror, but you can't find simulacrum splinters or delirium orbs. Well, I don't care about either of them. I just want cluster jewels, and this will still let cluster jewels drop, so bingo bongo. I don't have to worry about rushing through a map. I can take my time because the fog never dissipates. I took shrine nodes just to get shrine buffs to make stuff easier as well. So, so far I've gotten one cluster jewel with the implicit that I need. So in order to get Doriani's Lesson, you need it to either be added small passive, grant % increased elemental damage, or % increased cold or fire or lightning. Any of the elemental tags like that can roll it. This jewel specifically, I have had it hit once already, but it was in a weird spot, and it was like 11 passives to actually be able to take it. So I decided that I would keep farming and keep farming currency to roll the jewel for now. That is why I am pretty much out of all of my currency. I've just been alt spamming, scour chancing, or scour alching, chaos spamming it, whatever I can do to roll it. It's not that hard to roll. If we look at Craft of Exile here, I'll pull this up. Alright, so we go to Craft of Exile here, and we look up I-82, and we want a cluster jewel, we want a large jewel, we want cold damage, and we want Doriani's Lesson, which is this one. So to hit that with alterations, it's a 1 in 121 chance. If we were to chaos spam it, it's a 1 in 70 chance. So, and then really a lot of the other nodes help. So Blast Freeze is just, it spreads our freeze. Blanketed Snow does cold resistance penetration. This just adds more cold damage per attribute. So, I mean, we can kind of use a lot of the elemental nodes here because we are doing all 3 elemental damage types. In order to hit Doriani's Lesson, you have to have at least an I-68 jewel. We are good. Mine is I-82. So we are all good there. 1 in 70, that seems about right to me. If you are alt spamming it with Augs 1 in 121, yeah, I mean, you're going to get lucky sometimes and you're not going to get lucky. But I haven't tried fossil crafting it yet. I don't really do delve, so I'm not too sure on that. But that's what I've been working on. I will kind of show you a map here of what I've been doing with Delirium and kind of how I've been doing the Delirium encounters. So I'm basically running like tier 4 and tier 5 maps, and the reason being is because Delirium gets extremely rippy really quick. So you'll see we'll hop into a map here, and even tier 4 and 5 maps on a build that is normally running 16s, when you start stacking layers of Delirium, that shit gets ridiculous. Alright, here we are on our map. You come up, you hit your Delirium mirror, and then you kind of just walk around and kill shit, but you do want to be really careful here, because something you don't want to do in Delirium, because there's so many ground effects and so much stuff going on, is you kind of want to take your time to clear these if you don't want to die a lot. But for the most part, it's just a lot of damage. And it seems like a lot of the Delirium mobs have resistance to like freeze and chill, and they are cold damage or stand up with certain damage resistances. So if you have another build or a stronger build, and I would suggest using that. But you will drop cluster jewels and you will get currencies to drop. As far as scarabs go, I did try putting in some Delirium scarabs, and it does make a difference. You do end up with more drops, but I haven't noticed it enough to be running it in every map. I'm still kind of just alch and goat mapping with it. And depending on the map layout, some maps, if they're very linear, because it gets stronger the farther you get away from the mirror, some of the maps I just can't even finish. Like, I just start repeatedly dying, and that's why I haven't been worried about leveling or trying to push leveling. I figure once I get the cluster jewel and I kind of get my build set back up in a way that I like, I will worry about trying to level and go from there. We did get lucky though this time, and we hit one of the reward types is currency. That actually happens more times than you would think. Even when you're not using delirium orbs and you're just letting it roll. Need a couple Gladyses? Damn. You just letting it roll the reward types. And you can see we're about halfway through the map now, and I'm starting to have some issues killing white mobs. Yeah. I think the biggest thing that's killing me though in Delirium isn't the monsters necessarily, it's those tentacle things that keep exploding like you just heard. Those fucking heat-seeking things kill me more than anything. But you can see there, like, even white mobs are starting to have quite a bit of damage resistance and a lot of life. We'll hit this shrine. Also, shrines add a lot of monsters around them, which will help you stack up your delirium rewards even quicker. Let's try to grab that shrine node. Can I get it? Can I get it? Got it. There we go. But that can be a double-edged sword because obviously the shrine monsters are going to have the shrine buff. So if you end up with something like an impenetrable shrine or a divine shrine and you just get crit, you're just going to get shit. You're going to get shit on, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. That is just the hard truth of Delirium sometimes is this is it's really good content in the game, but it's some of the hard, in my opinion, some of the hardest content in the game. Between that and essences, just because of how much you're stacking on top of everything. Alright, so let's go do the boss arena. Now, something I have noticed in boss arenas is you don't want to just immediately run to the boss, because you will get gangbanged like that, and instead you want to try and kill everything first. Yeah, you can see how little damage this thing is taking in a tier 5 map. And while I don't have, you know, billions of DPS, I've got a decent amount. I would say probably a mil or so DPS. And let's see if we can even kill this boss. I'm not even sure. Oh god, that was, I think that's is that Nomnophobia? That kind of sounded like his sound. If that's not, if that is a Delirium boss, I'm so fucked. No, we appear to be good. Okay, that was actually impressive. I really figured this map would kill me. And just for instance, those are the modifiers. Like, they're not... It's nothing's super rough or anything like that. It's 2 additional prods, some AoE, poison on hit. That's it. So it's not even like I'm giving them, you know, 400% fizz as extra lightning, or, you know, 1000% cold as extra fizz. It's just because of Delirium. Alrighty. So, yeah, that's kind of been my life so far, but you can see, I mean, the loot that you get from it is really nice. I've been getting quite a few good uniques from doing this. You also get quite a bit of map returns doing this, I've noticed. So, we got 2 chaos out of that. Let's see if we can hit it. And no. And that's pretty much what I do, is every few maps I will roll whatever currency I've got on it, and then when I inevitably don't hit it, I go back to mapping. I am out of scours, which sucks, but I've been buying scours. I've been swapping chances for scours, so yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy the video here, and I will see you in the next one. I'm going to go back to living in Delirium Hell for the next, 2 days probably. But have yourselves a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.